a lot of people are unconsciously addicted to coffee. And if you can crack that code, because it is a serious drug, especially people that have been drinking for more than, 6 months, let alone 20 years, 30 years, burning holes in their stomach with the acids. It's one of those things that can completely snap you out of the miasm, the illusion, and give you an opportunity to grow and diversify your life in so many ways. I used to say that the only coffee that enters my body is through the beautiful process of an enema. And while I still, offer myself enemas from time to time, which is something that will be talked about in a completely different solo cast, because I think there needs to be a balance there. Everything can, everything can possibly go to an extreme level, which can be dangerous. Coffee drinking is something that I, somewhat opened myself up to over the last several years. And I recently did a talk in Europe on coffee and got into, the awareness of having intention on how you do everything is how you do anything, and how you do anything is how you do everything. And we approach ceremony, whether it's farming or it's sacred medicine or it's experiences with your soul family, as being so hyper present, where you're not doing anything unconsciously. You're not just running in some, zombie-like state. And I find that a lot of the world right now, not only are we dealing with this craze for instant gratification and being entertained and all these things that are taking us away, it's actually distractions. But we find ourselves in situations where we're not really applying deep level of presence on anything that we do. And something like drinking coffee, if you're unconsciously drinking it, you're putting yourself at a deficit every single day. And there's people that are causing a lot of harm in their body, and they're really feeling the consequences of that. And because coffee is an everyday thing, sometimes 2 to 3 times a day, maybe even more for some people, it's pretty extreme. This is something that if you can get hold of this, just this one thing, you can take drastic changes to your life and really radical or catapult yourself into a healthier version of you. And so, the circadian rhythm, the biological clock, the internal clock, the thing that governs our biochemical processes in the human body, how we rise every day, how we digest food, when we go to sleep, melatonin production, all the other hormones, serotonin, dopamine, all regulated by our biological clock. That's why we ground. That's why we get in front of the sun. That's why we drink clean spring water, all of those things. So if your circadian rhythm is running in congruency to a healthy version of you, meaning you have balance in it, you should be getting elevated with the stress hormone cortisol, which is produced through a message that's sent through the hypothalamus to the pituitary, then to the adrenals. It releases cortisol, usually around 5:30 a.m. 5:30, you should be elevating out of bed. The sun's declination's coming towards you. Blue light is coming on, and you're naturally waking up, and your blood pressure is being elevated, and you're getting vertical after 8 hours of horizontal sleep, and you're hydrating and things of that nature. You definitely don't want to pour coffee into the mix. Coffee is a stimulant. It's got caffeine in it. It's a radical drug with a lot of potential, and it must be used with discernment. If you're pouring in coffee, even 20 minutes, 30 minutes after rising, you're stacking cortisol on top of cortisol. I highly advise not doing that. Take your time, hydrate, mineralize, move your body, go to the bathroom, and maybe get some healthy fats and some aminos, maybe L-theanine in the mix. That's why we love matcha so much. That's a completely different solo cast. We'll get into matcha later. But approaching coffee consciously and as a ceremony will offer you the opportunity to truly bring in that coffee into your body and use it for what you need it for. If you are just going to go sit around and lay around and do nothing, why are you drinking coffee? It's the same thing with fruit. I always say, I don't just eat fruit and sit around. When we're on the islands, which is mainly where I eat fruit, I'm eating fruit because I'm moving 25,000 steps a day. I'm climbing trees. I'm planting. I'm in the earth. I'm diving in the ocean. We're going on 5, 7 mile hikes for hunting for spring water. We're going crazy. We're moving around like the way we should be. And the fruit and the glucose from the fruit, the fructose from the fruit, and the insulin and all of the minerals and all of those things, the mana is being used. It's the same thing with coffee. If you're going to just drink coffee just to drink coffee, you might need to step back and evaluate your life and also see where else in your life are you doing things unconsciously. It's a good self litmus test to see that. So what do I like to do if I drink coffee? Because like I said in the beginning, I'm starting to drink it from time to time, maybe once or twice, sometimes 3 times a week, I'll have a cup of coffee. And these are coffees that I'm usually making in our home. And for me, it's definitely raw cream goes in my coffee. Definitely our Shilajit from Symbiotica, which has got 92 trace minerals and all the minerals needed to create balance and harmony in the body. It also helps lower the acid push of coffee. Also use discernment with your coffee. I'm not going to say any names of coffee brands that I use, but I would highly advise finding one with low mycotoxins, if not any mycotoxins. And a biodynamic version would be probably your best bet. Another thing is not only with the raw cream is maybe you use some magnesium, maybe some, our brain magnesium, magnesium L-threonate, which has healthy fats in it as well, as well as phosphatidylcholine is in there. L-theanine, if I had not had it mentioned, that's another good one. Glycine is another good one. Amino acids like glycine and glutamine go very well with coffee. They help support the tight junctions in the gut and create balance and harmony. Also, when you're drinking your coffee, how are you drinking it? Are you just chugging it, or are you taking time with it? Do you pray while you drink coffee? Do you pray to the coffee bean, to the plants, and to all the people involved in the staging process to bring that coffee to you? Do you grind your own coffee? That's something that we do here. I find grinding coffee to be a very powerful ritual. There's something that, off gases from the coffee that's so aromatic and so refreshing. Sometimes I don't even need to drink coffee. I just need to blend coffee and smell it, and it does exactly what I need it to do. This is taking your life into your own hands as opposed to being led astray by a program or an energy that has you by the grip. And again, like I said, this is the ultimate litmus test to your life. What other areas of your life are you operating unconsciously? Maybe it's your relationships, maybe it's your relationships to food, maybe it's your relationship to self, maybe it's your lack of daily rituals, your lack of balance, your addiction to stress. Some people are constantly need to be in the stress state. They need to be getting hits and hits of dopamine, but without actually doing the work to receive the dopamine. We call that the dopaminergic pathway of the process of getting that aha moment. If you keep skipping that process and going to the hit, you're training your body to lose sight of the goal, and it gets tired and it gets weak and your constitution weakens. And I see this all the time. I see this with not only men, I see it with women as well. And for us to really step into our power, not be a society that's being pushed over left and right, a group of people that actually are supporting other people in the community and being a pillar of strength, maybe, broadening your conscious and your adaptability to other things in life. This could be the center of it, because a lot of people are unconsciously addicted to coffee. And if you can crack that code, because it is a serious drug, especially people that have been drinking for more than, 6 months, let alone 20 years, 30 years, burning holes in their stomach with the acids. It's one of those things that can completely snap you out of the miasm, the illusion, and give you an opportunity to grow and diversify your life in so many ways. So I highly advise you taking a look in the mirror and consider the way that you approach your coffee drinking, and see, what other things you can evolve with that. And I know it's not easy. You might be hearing this and be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? This is ridiculous. I love my morning cup of Joe, and I'm present when I drink it, and this and that, but do a deep dive, reconcile, your situation, look at your last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, evaluate it, and see if there's any little tweaks that you can do, not only with the alchemy and the other materials that I advise putting in that drink or having it with it, but also just where you're at mentally when you're drinking your coffee, and how are you preparing your coffee? Are you just running down to the local store, or are you going and getting it, while you're driving to work? All of those things are part of the ritual process, and we can all make time for ourselves to create ceremony around anything. And so, again, for me, coffee drinking is the ultimate litmus test to someone who's been drinking coffee for 10, 15, 20 years. Your ability to adapt and make change is your ability to find salvation in life.